And good morning to you, Radio Next.TV Jumbo Love here live as we continue the sleep, health, and wellness session on Radio Next.TV and Jumbo Love. And Dr. Anakute, how are you today?
Hi, good morning, Harold. I almost called
Doc.
you Jumbo Love.
No, no, please, no, say Jumbo Love for my audience because I've been telling my brothers, man, when she says Jumbo Love with that little dialect on, it turns me on. Go ahead and tell them Jumbo Love.
Okay. Hi, Jumbo Love. It's been a while since I called you that.
There we go. There we go. How is Dr. Anakwute, your husband? Because we always love to give information and awareness about what Dreamland Health and Wellness is really all about. Dr. Anakwute, the missus, is a sleep and health therapist. She can tell you and guide you on ways to get better sleep. Her husband, Dr. Anakwute, is also a doctor, and he specializes in aesthetics and obesity and facial structures and some of the things that might cause you to have sleep disorders that you just didn't know about. So, is he good?
Yeah, he's doing okay.
I said,
Yeah,
well,
he's great.
you tell him I said hello.
I
But
will.
anyway, today as we come in and we start touching on some of the subject matters that we have discussed, and I was telling you candidly, Dr. Anakute, that some of the things that you talk about when we come in and have these sessions are the things that I live and most of the people live because I have conversations with a lot of my senior people. Um, what what should we do? Because you've given us so many ways to get a healthy sleep. But once you wake up and real life takes over, I told you before we started this interview today, I wake up and everything that you tell me I need to do to go to sleep, I do the this. I'll go get me something to eat. I'll turn on my TV, I'll grab my phone, and then I'm wired and then can't get back to sleep. So, what should we do? What's the order of if you wake up abruptly in the middle of the night and you know you need to get a healthy night's sleep? How do we reverse these tendencies and these habits of waking
Okay.
up? Is
Good.
that fair?
Yeah, that's a great question. And making sure that you're doing the right things in the middle of the night would start from what you do before you go to bed. Um, Now, if you're struggling with phone electronics, I always encourage people to put their phones in a separate room in the living room. I know that's hard. Put away your electronics, put it in the living room, go to bed, and such that when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't find it, right? It's not close to you. Another thing you can do is to put your phones on airplane mode if they absolutely have to be in your room, such that an hour before bedtime, you're no longer scrolling through the phone. And also, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you don't pick it up to scroll as well. Put away the remote to the TV. First of all, people should not have a TV in their living rooms, but let's just say that it
You had me crack. I'm just laughing so hard because I'm telling you, everybody is flunking this course right now. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yes, but let's just say you happen to have one in your living room. Okay, that's okay. You have one now. So what can you do? Put the remote somewhere that you can't reach when you wake up in the middle of the night, right? These are just things that you can do to help you stay away from doing the wrong things. Now, when you wake up in the middle of the night, I always recommend to give yourself at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes trying to fall back asleep. Okay. It's not you really working hard, it's just you laying on the bed and waiting for sleep to take over. And if that doesn't happen after 20 to 30 minutes, then it's okay. It's not the end of the world because where people get it wrong is that they begin to freak out. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to fall asleep. I have to wake up tomorrow morning and all of that. And again, like we discussed, that turns on the wakefulness center and makes it even more difficult to fall asleep. And so once you get to 30 minutes, and this is an estimate, I don't want you also to look at the clock because that also creates some sort of anxiety. an estimate of 20 to 30
Anxiety.
minutes. So then you get up, get out of bed, sit in a chair outside of bed, and take a book and read the book. So that means that during the day, sometime during the week, you should have gone to the library and gotten yourself a book that you can read if any of these things happen. And so that's why I said what you do in the middle of the night all starts with how you prepare for those times before you even go to bed. Have a book by your nightstand close by that you can use. Put a chair by your bed that you can sit out and sit on when you wake up in the middle of the night.
Dr. Anakute, you had mentioned earlier in one of our previous discussions about sleep is like the closest thing to death that we experience before actually dying. Do you think that that fear, that apprehension of fading off into that mental abyss is one of the problems that creates some anxiety, maybe, of sleep? I'm just asking. This is just as I'm listening to you. I told you, doctor, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
You have to understand your boy. You know,
Yes. So that is possible. I really did have a patient who came to me because she was afraid of dying in her sleep, and it was so real. So and it really also happens when you that person has lost someone, right? They're just reading
yeah.
6 months, yeah, where they just lost a loved one, and that fear just grips them. What if I died in my sleep? But that's really possible. Not the general or not the case most of the time, but that has happened. I've seen that. Yeah.
Now, I noticed me. Uh, I tend to have some effects from my past. For instance, back when I was younger, my mother was doing some things that were kind of out of the norm, and some guys broke into our house, and I was asleep, and I woke up with five guns to my head. I would do better now, like being alert until I go to sleep, if that makes sense. And I almost have to fall asleep without trying to go to sleep. So, how much does the adverse trauma uh, deal with people in their sleep habits? Because I know I need noise, I need light, I need stuff to make sure that I'm alert. And then I just fall asleep instead of like preparing to go to sleep. Tell me how we can fix that.
Yeah. So if you're dealing with
I need to
like
come see you. I need to be a paid customer.
you should. You should. Let's just talk, right? I'm not gonna yeah, we're just gonna have a nice conversation. But yes, so when people are struggling with different stresses, life stressors, or um, things, thoughts that provoke anxiety, one thing I always recommend is to try something called constructive worrying. And what is constructive worrying? So this is where you sit down, not close, not in bed, and maybe 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, you take a pen, you take a paper, and you write down those thoughts that bother you. You write how realistic are these things? Are you overthinking these issues? What is the likelihood that these things would happen, right? These things that you're so afraid of, so fearful of. You've been living life and those things haven't happened. So maybe you're overthinking it. And if you're not overthinking it, okay, how can we face it? What can we do about it? What is the right step towards it? What steps can you take that can make a difference if that's really through? So basically, facing your fears and constructively bringing up solutions. And of course, there are things that you cannot take care of. There are things that are beyond your control. And then you tell yourself, this is absolutely beyond me. There is no amount of worrying that will take care of this. So, how about I just let it go and live life, right? And so, this is you just facing your fears and Because what happens is that people want their fears to be drowned by the activities of the day. Unfortunately, however, when it comes to bedtime, there is no work, no noise, nothing is going on. All of those thoughts come back to you. And it's coming back to you at the wrong time when you should be winding down. So, this is you proactively facing those fears and dealing with them before they come back to you at nighttime.
So, as in a poem that I wrote, the silence was so loud. You got
It
what I'm
is.
saying? No, I
Yeah,
mean, really,
it is.
silence becomes loud. You have time just to try to relax and rest, and you're done with all the things that you had to think about. Now it's silent, and then all the things that inside you are just coming out loud.
Right.
And so that should be the time when you try to suppress all that or need to suppress all that if we want a healthy night's sleep. Now, before I let you go today, I do want to touch on, because we kind of touched on it last week about supplements that can help you sleep. And I know a lot of times people get dependent on sleeping pills, get dependent on outside sources that might help you sleep. Would you suggest any type of things that are out there naturally or anything that's not addictive to help people before they go to sleep to get a good night's sleep?
Okay. So, I would most.
I threw one at you then, didn't I, Doc? I threw a curve at you right there, didn't I?
Yes, yes, you did. Absolutely. The first thing I want to say is that sleep is natural. Sleep is a natural thing. And so we don't necessarily need supplements to help us sleep. Now, most of the supplements, right? We know them, melatonin and all of that people take. Um, they typically studies are very limited on their how effective they are, even in children. A lot of parents use that over the counter for their children. The problem with these supplements, people use all sorts of things. Like I've heard about magnesium and all of that. um, the point is this: we want the natural thing to happen naturally. There is limited evidence about all these supplements. What I have seen is that people that take these supplements continue to increase the doses because at some point it stops working. And so I always tell
Yeah.
people, I literally had a patient that came to my clinic and she said, "Oh my goodness, I've tried 5 different sleep medications. I'm here for medication." And I'm like, if you've gone through 5, that's enough proof to you that medications are not the solution. It means there's something because I'm going to give you, if I am, anyways, if I'm going to give you the 6th one, you're going to get to a point where it's not going to work. And that's really what happens that you start all of these supplements or medications, you increase doses, you max it out and it no longer even works, and so you're moving on to the next medication. And so what we have studied and known to be the most effective treatment for difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep is what we call CBTI. I mentioned in my last session with you, I think. We can absolutely take up some time to talk more about CBTI so people understand it and can apply it in their lives.
Well, definitely that leads us in to our next conversation. Then, and you have it
Yes.
already, and I'm going to bring it to you. I told you I'm serving. I'm serving like Yannick Noah on the tennis court. But anyway, thank you again. And as always, if you want to find out more about healthy sleeping, aesthetics, obesity, please go to Dreamland Health and Wellness. You can go to dreamlandhealth.com or you can stay right here at www.radio-next.tv. Go down to the sponsor section and click the link and find out more. Dr. Anakute, you are always serving up some great messaging on sleep, health, and wellness, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Harold. It's good to be on